I'm Sam.
I'm Brian.
And I'm kind of curious before we dive into this. I want to know if anybody's already selling any products online. Um, Either pop into the chat or wave a hand. It looks like none. Okay, we got one, a half. Okay, Etsy, that's good.
Pretty cool.
No, Etsy's still online. Cool. Well, Redbubble, cool. Okay, so Charlotte, you're probably designing art and then just uploading it to Redbubble. Um, cool. Well, does everybody have some interest in selling stuff online at some point? I'm going to go ahead and assume that's a yes. I'm seeing some nods. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, hopefully today, what we can do is like answer any questions or concerns people have in regards to selling online and hopefully encourage you to continue marching down that path. Um, I'll do, Brian, I'll do like a little bit um, uh, background on how I got started.
Yeah,
And then want to fire up the PowerPoint after that.
sure. Yeah.
All right, cool. Um, all right, so I went to SF State and studied graphic design. And I kind of got to a point in my learning at SF State where I got really sick of just like only making graphics that ended up on the computer, and I wanted to somehow like find a way where I could take my artwork into the physical world, and that's when I got into screen printing. Um, so screen printing is a great way to take digital art and make it real or physical. So I bought a bunch of screen printing equipment on Craigslist and put it in a friend's garage and watched hours and hours of YouTube videos and more or less like fumbled around with all of this equipment until I had a pretty comprehensive understanding of screen printing. And then once I was like a pretty good screen printer, I became a street vendor down at the Ferry Building. If you've ever been down to the Ferry Building, you'll see some kind of decrepit tents with lots of old people selling jewelry and whatnot. And I was one of those street vendors for a couple of years. And it's entirely how I made my living for a handful of years. And anyways, I kind of over time just developed more of a brand and got my products into retail stores, and also just like worked on my website and developed my e-commerce presence. And here we are today. It's 2020. I started doing this in 2011, and well, given COVID, we're becoming more of an e-commerce company every day. But another way in which we make money is we sell our products to retail stores. Unfortunately, that's taken a huge hit because of COVID, but it's just still a big part of our business. But anyways, I think what I want to the point I want to drive home is that I essentially bought a bunch of cheap equipment on Craigslist, watch YouTube videos, taught myself how to, screen print and built a business around that. So all I'm trying to say is like, it's really, you can start a business with no education and very little money. There's a very small barrier to entry to becoming your own business owner and selling stuff online. So that's important to remember. Cool. Brian, you want to fire up the PowerPoint?
Yeah. One sec here.
Webster, what do you sell on Etsy?
I don't know how to see the, oh, here, I lost everyone's video. Just want to see it at the same time. All right, here's our PowerPoint. This is Sam and I at a trade show last year in Las Vegas. And anyway.
Yeah, we used to, before COVID, we would go to these trade shows in Las Vegas like twice a year. And that was a way in which we'd try to get more and more wholesale business. So we'd set up a booth with all of our products, and buyers, so retail store owners or buyers, would walk around looking for new products. And it's very heavy on the networking. There's no guarantees. You're spending thousands of dollars just to essentially get a spot and hope that somebody kind of interacts and picks up your line. Unfortunately, there's none of those happening right now. And yeah, so our world has changed a ton, which is why we're here, not talking about wholesale, but talking about the internet.
Yeah, like a year ago, our year centered around getting ready to go to these shows. Now it's very different. This is our world now. These are a couple screenshots of our website. Maybe I'll pull it up to like show everyone our current online store.
Yeah, why not? I think that's good, dude. Yeah, we'll just show you some products real quick. So I design all the graphics and communicate with all of our vendors and manufacturers about how I want stuff to get made. The majority of our product line is screen printed t-shirts and sweatshirts. But yeah, things that are screen printed at a screen print shop. But we also have some headwear like hats and beanies, and some accessories like socks. Some stuff we make in house with the heat press. Is anybody familiar with heat pressing? You can feel free to chat that in. But and then some stuff we have made in China that's imported, that's like fully custom. Yep. Cool. Cool. So yeah. Before we open this up for questions, what we want to talk about is how our site works, how we engage customers, and then how we manage our inventory. Those are kind of like the three big buckets of information that we can kind of ramble about. But our website is built on Shopify. Has everybody heard of Shopify before? No. Okay. So yeah, yes and no. Anyways, Shopify is for anybody who's like maybe selling on Etsy right now. Shopify is a good place to graduate when you want to have a more branded experience. What Etsy does provide that Shopify isn't is Etsy is going to provide a customer base. Once you start building your website on Shopify, you are completely in control of driving traffic to that site. So it'll be your own fully branded experience, but it will be your own exclusive website. Unlike Etsy, which already has a big marketplace, where Etsy kind of lacks in branding, but it brings a huge customer base. But if anybody in this meeting right now plans on setting up their own site, I would highly recommend using Shopify. A competitor is Squarespace, but I would just go straight to Shopify because it's really designed to like scale as you grow. Yeah, Brian, what else can we say about how our site works? Big Cartel is similar, but I believe it's like it's kind of like Shopify Lite. It's very simple, and where Shopify succeeds is its ability to add on very specific apps. So if you need an app for shipping, or if you need an app for customer referrals, or an app for this, an app for that, Shopify has that. Um, Big Cartel, Big Cartel is going to get the job done, but it's just like a little bit more limited in its ability to customize.
Yeah, Shopify has just like a really massive like app store
Yeah.
of just like everything you can really think of for an e-commerce site. It's very overwhelming at first, but you just kind of like wait until you actually need that thing to start using it.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, how our site works, I don't know. We could like show people the back end of it, but maybe after just kind of briefly introducing the other two kind of
Yeah, totally.
topics.
Yeah, well, here, let's talk about number 2 for a second. So you know, we use Shopify to sell our products online. We don't have our products on Amazon, and we don't have our products on Etsy. So we have our own branded website. So therefore, we're responsible for driving traffic to that site. So which leads us to number 2, how we engage our customers. So when you're selling a product online, you know, you can put a website up and list products, and there's no guarantee that anybody's going to come and buy anything. So that's why marketing is so important, you know, and the types of marketing that we participate in are social media marketing, which for us right now is exclusively Instagram, and then email marketing, which is where we collect as many emails as possible and then send out marketing emails. The most effective for us right now is email marketing. It tends to be that the people who give you their email address are the most likely to buy. That's just the way it is for us. You know, other brands might be more successful with their Instagram following than we are, but when we have new products or deals, we send emails, and that's how we generate revenue. And then we also run ads. Right now, we exclusively run ads on Instagram, and it's not hugely profitable or successful for us, but it's a fairly affordable way to get new well, not even get new customers, but just get our product in front of more eyeballs. Yep. But and then
Sorry, I was kind of having like technical issues over here while you were talking. Where were you guys saying?
I was just talking about how we drive traffic via email marketing, Instagram, and ads.
Yeah.
And organic social. You know, we post on Instagram, you know, for free, you know, a non-paid ad, but unfortunately the reach on that is declining, so you're kind of forced to run more ads. Um, yeah, is it anybody in this group right now promote their product on Instagram or any other social media platform? Anybody that is selling something? Sorry, you can take your time to answer that. But,
Um, yeah, I am. It's not as successful as other websites I found. Right now, Reddit has been one that's really big. Um, I've created a Discord, and I'm trying to look into that as well.
okay, cool. What do you sell, Webster?
Stickers, screen prints, digital prints.
Cool. Are you doing any of the production yourself, or do you send it all out to a company to make?
It's all personal, handmade. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So you've got a little screen print setup,
Yeah. I have a 4 press.
a 4-color press.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you teach yourself how to use it? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I did, but I also I went to take classes after just to beef up. And then I did a part-time at a screen print company.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Which one? In the Bay Area?
Yeah, one in Union City. I forgot what it's called, like American Press or something very generic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way to learn how to do everything, though. Work at a shop. Cool. Well, all right. Brian, how about we just dive into some inventory? So, um, our lives are essentially like controlled by inventory because, we're selling a physical product, and you got to have a product to sell. So we are ruled by inventory. We deal with inventory every single day, all day long. So it's something we want to talk about for a little bit because of how important it is. Brian, where should we start?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's just like emphasizing the importance of being on top of it. And we like, because we have had it as like a very like key pillar of how we operate since we started working together, Sam.
Yep.
So I think that like what a lot of companies I've heard have run into really big issues when they aren't doing the work they need to know how much product that they have to sell, and to know which products they have that aren't selling or aren't even maybe available to sell. And so yeah, we've had a gradually an inventory process that's gotten more complicated over time as we've added more and more products. But and we can tell you guys a little bit about that. It's a lot of like spreadsheets and little math equations, but
But yeah, the reason why inventory is so important for us is because we're a small company and we have a very finite amount of cash. If we had tons and tons of cash, we probably wouldn't think about inventory as logically as we do.
that's right.
And the reason being is that inventory costs money. And so the more money we put into inventory, the less cash we have. And the reason we like having cash is so that we can pay ourselves. There's me, Brian, and we have 2 other employees, and Brian and I are on a fixed salary, and I believe our employee, one of our employees is, and the other one is on hourly. But anyways, you need cash to run all that payroll. So that's important. Then we have rent and a ton of other expenses. So we need this cash sitting around so it can be dispersed to all these different things. But then at the same time, we need inventory so that we can sell a product and create some revenue and some profit so that that money can go back into the pile of cash to pay ourselves. But so we're always playing this balancing act of like figuring out how much cash to put into inventory, or how much to not put into inventory. And so that's why inventory for us, and a lot of other small businesses, is kind of this juggling act.
Yeah, and our strategy is basically to have as little money as possible in inventory.
Yep.
And so that means just being very aware of like which things are actually selling, so that they're in stock for the person who wants to buy it, especially when we're dealing with our retailers that we sell to wholesale, because they're always reordering the same things. And then knowing like which things aren't selling, we want to have them on our site available because it's our new stuff, and having those in like the lowest amount possible until maybe one of them becomes popular because people just really like it for some reason. And so when you have like hundreds of products, it takes some work to like figure out which one's which, between just keeping it in stock and actually needing to like beef it up because lots of people want it.
Totally. Jorge, yeah, your question: do you use a program service to manage inventory, or do you do it manually? So we use a program called TradeGecko that is an inventory management program, cloud-based program, just like Shopify, where it's just a website that you navigate to. But our inventory software integrates with Shopify and other softwares that we use, like QuickBooks for accounting. But essentially, TradeGecko, our inventory management software, is kind of like our nerve center of all of our inventory related things. So when we go into TradeGecko, we can navigate to any product and see how many units are in stock for any product. And because it's integrated with Shopify, anytime somebody places an order off of our site, the quantity for that item that was ordered will tick down by one, or however many are ordered. So anyways, it's kind of this living thing that's like working in the background, keeping track of all of our inventory based on how many things are selling or how many things are coming into our warehouse. Even though it is like this automated tool, inventory is essentially always a little bit wrong, because life happens and things like go missing or aren't counted properly, or wires get crossed, which is why we stock take our inventory. So, in a perfect world, we would have perfect inventory, which is why we do these stock takes, to try to keep perfect inventory. But there's that inventory is kind of organic. It's always shifting up and down, essentially. Yeah. But Jorge, to answer your question, we also not only do we use software, but we also do kind of manually manipulate it. A lot of Brian's work is like manually thinking.
Like it's like we make a spreadsheet that is like it's like an automatically generated spreadsheet that allows us to manually well, yeah, because at the end of the day, you have to like tell your suppliers how much you need to reorder or have them make for you. And so that's like manual in the sense that we don't have like the computer just saying, like, writing emails to our screen printer. We have to like send them the POs ourselves still. And so eventually it's a manual process, but we figured out we have some tools that I made that get us to like see just what we need to order and how much of it with as little sifting through all the other stuff as possible. And so that's how it works. It's like a little bit of a computer programming and then a Google spreadsheet. I can show you guys that really quick.
But anyway, if anybody is planning on selling anything online, or currently is selling anything online, I just want to stress how important it is to even just attempt to keep track of your inventory. And I say that because, I used to run my business out of, the room I'm in right now. It used to be my bedroom, and I was screen printing out of my garage and using a bedroom as an office. So it was this very kind of chaotic apartment run business. And the way I managed inventory is I would just kind of look around and have a sense of what I had in stock. And I didn't really worry about it too much because I could always go down into my garage and print more. But as my business grew, that became a total headache because I essentially always had this this backlog of stuff that I had to make, individual unique items that I needed to make to fulfill orders, whether it be for a retail store or for an online store. So I just kind of never knew where I was at. I always knew I had to make something. That was essentially the one thing that was always a given. But anyways, I look back on the early years of my business, and I regret not keeping better track of my inventory. And the reason being is because I would have had a lot less stress, and I probably would have had more time to focus on the stuff I actually liked doing. So to anybody who is an artist who wants to get into business selling their art, if you keep good track of your inventory, you won't be overwhelmed and you'll have more time to focus on your art.
Let's see, you've got some questions.
Oh.
How much
Cool.
in-house?
Webster, yeah, how much in-house products are made versus connecting with outside screen printers production? So for the first maybe 4 or 5 years, I screen printed everything in-house. Brian and I started working together in 2016, so about 4 years ago, at which point we moved into an office and I sold all my screen printing equipment. So since then, 90% of our products were made at by a screen print shop. So they were contracted out. And that was a big change to make. But, I don't know what I said, 95 or 90. The other 5 or 10% are, random things that we heat press at our warehouse. So we heat press some hats or heat press some t-shirts or sweatshirts if the product's like maybe a little experimental, or if we're not ready to commit to the minimum order size that our printer has. I was literally heat pressing stuff yesterday. I need to, anyways, I don't know. There's pros and cons to it. Cool. So do you guys all participate in running the Yaks store, or is it just like one person that's managing it, or do you guys like co-manage it?
I'd say it's a shared experience that we're all kind of learning on the fly as we go.
Cool. So are you guys designing products?
We actually have basically we source like student designs that we think are really strong.
Cool.
Pay them for the design and then print the designs on different items.
Cool. So you like stock inventory and then sell it?
Yeah, just went live a couple weeks ago, I think.
Cool. How's it going?
I feel like initially it was going really. I mean, there was like that first push, and it was part of like our big fundraising event, and
Yep.
now it's just about like sustaining it, I would say.
Totally. Yeah, I can totally, I mean, Brandon, I can totally relate to that. That's the really challenging aspect of like, um, online retail is keeping sustained sales. Sales tend to kind of correlate with a big push. So, your sales kind of look like a spike and then a plateau. Um, Essentially what it comes down to is if you're talking about your product, whether it be via email or social media, your product's probably selling, or it was probably selling better than if you weren't talking about it. So I do a lot of the social media content, and I there's many times I just feel like kind of a robotic salesperson. It's kind of draining, but it's what has to happen if you want to like make a buck. So yeah, you guys just got to keep plugging the site. Cool, you dropped a link in there. Sweet. Nice. Cool. Sophia, you said, can we talk about the process of scaling your business? Definitely. So when I did everything out of my apartment, probably from 2011 to 2016, and in that time, the changes I made that the scaling that happened was kind of like going from just being a street vendor to ending up getting my product into retail stores, which was kind of a result of having a physical presence downtown and just creating more brand awareness. But then Brian and I started working together in 2016, and at that point, we were able to scale a lot more effectively and quicker. Brian, you want to talk about that for a little?
Yeah. So I mean, the first thing that we did that Sam had in mind was to knock on doors of retailers to expand our wholesale business. And so we basically we knew of some, and we just Googled a whole bunch of them and sent out 100 or 200 emails, and had a really good response. I think like it's probably not 200, it's probably like 100 emails, and I think about 50 of them at least responded, and about 20 or 30 actually started carrying some of the tees and sweatshirts like within a month of getting started with that push. So all of a sudden we had a lot more wholesale orders coming in, and we were still working out of the space that Sam had before we started working with another screen printer. But basically by like the end of that first or second month, we pulled the trigger on a warehouse space, started working with a screen printer, and just kind of did our best to keep the wheels on the cart as the wholesale business specifically kept growing. We got like we were very excited after that initial success in the Bay Area, mostly in San Francisco, that I think it took about 2 or 3 years of like continuing to do an email push every quarter or so, but like the response really died down. And we kind of gave up, I would say, like a year or so ago on that cold email outreach.
Yeah,
but
we
yeah.
definitely kind of plateaued. So, and we're definitely not growing this year. This year is a decline in revenue, not detrimental, but COVID has had a big impact on our business. Um, Jorge, you asked, was there a store that wholesaled product early on? There's a shop on Clement and Third Avenue called Park Life that when I was really early into this business, I just walked in with a bag full of some T-shirts and showed them, and gave them my email. And later that day, they responded saying they wanted to carry some tees, and that felt really good because I was pretty young at the time, and I just it's kind of a nerve-wracking thing to go in somewhere and be salesy. It's tough. Not everybody has that skill. So that felt really good. I mean, even like right now, thinking about walking into a store and trying to sell them something, I get nervous. Like, I don't actively do it, but Molly's asking, do you have any tips for selling one of a kind artwork? My question to you, Molly, is what type of, or do you make one of a kind artwork? And if so, what type? But I mean, everything we sell, is made in bulk. So all our screen printed T-shirts, we're making dozens at a time, and so as far as like selling one of a kind artwork, yeah, I guess the only I don't know. I don't have any tips because I don't do it. But yeah, Molly, are you running into any issues right now in regards to selling one of a kind artwork? Brian, Molly's asking, does most
Yeah.
of our profit come from wholesale? I think it
Oh,
does.
yeah. This year, I think this year it might be like 50-50.
So when we sell our products at wholesale, we're selling them at like a roughly a 50% margin. So on a per item basis, technically we're making less money than when we sell it on our website. But we sell in like a larger volume via wholesale than we do online.
So yes.
So yeah. In years past, at least, the
Yeah.
large majority of our revenue came from, or profit revenue came from wholesale.
Molly, for the one of a kind artwork question, it might not be something where you would need tools like Shopify, since it'd be pretty like high touch in terms of like putting each piece online. You wouldn't need like to like audit, like have a system for like ringing people up. You could do that like via Venmo or offline, like, not like an all-in-one package to get started. And like you can manually mark things as like sold once they did sell, since you have to do all the work to put that one thing up anyways. So I guess the question, the like important thing to keep in mind would be just like, if you have the time to do all that work based on how much you'd be making for each piece that sells.
Yeah, totally.
But the inventory would be pretty easy because you would know that the one thing was sold. Saw that one would buy.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Webster, you talking about a customer base? Like, what's your best advice? Yeah. Yeah. What I recommend for like creating a customer base was like, leveraging social media or other platforms. I know you mentioned Reddit before. But wherever you choose, whatever platform you do choose to use to create or garner a customer base, just make sure it's one that you're comfortable on and you like spending time on. And yeah, really what I recommend is, just being authentic and being yourself. And the reason why I think that's important is because I think people appreciate authenticity. So it's gonna help. I think authenticity is gonna help garner an audience. But then it's also important to be yourself and be authentic because it's sustainable. And so, if let's say you're going to be in business for 3 years and you're gonna be creating content and doing marketing, you're going to want to make sure that over those 3 years, you enjoy the marketing that you do, or the person that you're being. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, you're going to feel a lot better if you be yourself as opposed to trying to be somebody else. It's really easy to go on social media. I'm just speaking from experience. Go on social media and see the way people are marketing their brands or their business and want to imitate all these different things. But you shouldn't imitate anything if it isn't like kind of true to you. There's a bunch of other people out there. But there's only one you. So it's important to just be yourself. And then, yeah, the other ways to create a customer base is run ads. So be yourself and run ads. Jorge, that's a great question. How do you balance making designs you love personally with making things you feel will sell? So what I try to do is do both. So make sure that I have a pretty strong understanding of like what or a strong intuition of what our customer base like has bought or wants to buy or will buy. But then I also know, because the ideas are like burning inside of me, what I want to make. And sometimes like what I want to make and what our customer wants to buy are just, totally worlds apart. So I just try to do both. And the stuff that I love personally, if it doesn't align with what our customer wants, I just try to make sure I don't make too much of it. Kind of going back to how we were talking about cash before. If I desperately want to make a product because I love the idea and I just need to get it out of my system and see it come to life, I'll figure out a way to make a really small quantity of it because I don't want to sink too much cash in it and I know it's not going to sell. Maybe a couple of people will buy it. But what's really important is that we sink the cash into stuff that will sell, whether my heart's in it or not.
Ling, we mostly run our ads on Facebook or Instagram, which is Facebook.
Yeah. Can you show some ads that have been successful for you? Yeah, Brian, can you pull up the
sailboat tee?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can break down I can essentially tell you that one ad that's been successful for us, it hasn't necessarily been successful at generating lots of revenue or sales, but it has been successful at getting people to like click through to our site. So we use it for, cold traffic and try to get new customers. But anyways, it runs in the story. So it's a story ad. I shot on my iPhone with the selfie camera, and I'm pretty much just doing like a quick rundown of like, who we are, what we sell, and where to buy it. So anyways, I think a successful ad is an ad that is clear. like has a clear message. And I say that because we've also run some ads that were not clear at all, and we're just like kind of cool videos. Those didn't do good. Then we've also run some ads that are just like a photo of the product that we're trying to sell. Like we're trying to sell a Golden Gate Park sweatshirt. So we just, photo of the sweatshirt, and then we make sure to tailor our audience specifically to correlate with the product that we're selling. So, when we're trying to sell a Golden Gate Park sweatshirt, we might make an audience that has an interest in Golden Gate Park. Yeah. But yeah, we have a love-hate relationship with ads. They can clean you out of a lot of money, and not give too much in return. If
It's really hard to know what you're getting in return.
does it take a lot of time making the ads? Not necessarily. So, if you're making a really elaborate video, then yeah, your video might take a lot of time. But as far as like uploading your video to the ads platform and picking your audience, you can do that in half an hour, but what does suck up a lot of time is like, looking, if you get obsessed with it, you can spend all this time looking at the reporting and trying to figure out whether or not it's working or whether or not you should turn it off. And
yeah.
So ads, they don't take a lot of time to make, but they can suck up a lot of your time. Amber, we have had influencers market our products in the past. So yeah, in the past, we've kind of just like made this boilerplate email, sent it out to influencers, just letting them know that they could have free product. And it's been all right. It's not the basis of our social media strategy. If sometimes people email us every now and then asking for a product, and usually just tell them like yes. But I know some companies, their whole social media strategy is like built purely around influencers, but it's not something we've done a lot of, but a little bit. How much of our work is spent on marketing versus creative? Well, our business at this point, it's me and Brian, and then we have another employee. We have two employees. One who's kind of our like logistics manager, so he's in the warehouse, managing all of the shipping that's happening, and then we have another employee who literally does all the picking and packing. So our work is pretty evenly divided or spread out, so that Brian and I actually have a lot of time now to focus on marketing and creative. I've been doing this since 2011, and I'd say this year is like kind of the first year where I can more or less like work on creative stuff every day, which is kind of wild, because but anyways, I don't know, Brian, what would you say to Suling about how much of our work is spent on marketing versus creative?
So I think one of the ways that Sam and I work together right now is that we come up with the ideas for if the creative involves marketing, and I'm assuming we're just talking about that versus like the clothing design. Sam and I will come up with a campaign we want to run or some marketing idea, and then hash it out to degree of clarity that we both are pretty sure we know what we're saying that we want to do, and then we'll kind of like break. And Sam's role will be to produce the creative, and my role will be to get our either like email platform or to get Clay via our email platform or Facebook set up to deliver that creative and run the campaign. And I help out. I do the copy a lot, and that's a pretty quick part. So I'd say it's kind of like 50-50. I think Sam probably has more work on his plate for a lot of our whenever our marketing does require creative, depending on what that is too. If it's like a video, it's a lot of work, like Sam was saying, on the creative side. But if it's just like a banner image with like cool text, it might be a lot less.
Yeah, totally. Karina, are you talking about like sustainable as in like eco-friendly, or sustainable as in like creating lots of revenue that we can live off of? I'm assuming, eco-friendly. Yeah, cool. So I mean, we can talk a little bit about some of the things we have done. We ship all. Recently, we switched all of our poly mailers. That's the things that we put our products in when we're shipping them. So yeah, recently we switched to a company called Eco Enclose. And Brian, do you know what the difference is?
So we also have an employee whose specialty his focus is in our opportunities to be more sustainable, and he found these poly mailers for us, and they're 100% recycled. That's the
okay. Yeah, recycled poly. So yeah, I mean, that's I just bring that up because that's like one change we have made. We also recycle all of our paper at our office and all of our cardboard. We reuse a ton of cardboard whenever we can, and we properly dispose of plastic bags. But yeah, I don't know. It's that's the extent at which we've like made changes is just essentially how we manage and how we manage our waste at our warehouse. Those are like the only changes I can think of that we've made recently.
Yeah, we have our products have varying degrees of eco-friendliness, and yeah, like admittedly it's something that's like really nice when it's an option, but it hasn't been like a major focus of like which products we use. All of the companies we work with are like certified, at least on like from like a worker, like a labor standpoint, certified, but we don't really know what all of that means because a lot of them do come from overseas.
Yeah.
But then also another company we work with is based in LA, and they pay all of their workers a living wage in LA. And they have 100% cotton shirts. So and some of them are also organic, but I don't think any that we use. And also the one in New York is all US based too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I think one thing we can do to I guess like decrease our carbon footprint is just try to use more products that are made domestically, so they're not traveling all over the world. But yeah, before we got, I don't know when we got to wrap this up, but does anybody else have any other questions or anything, any reasons, anything they're trying to learn about e-commerce or even just small business in general? No sweat. Man, personal favorite design product. Um, you know what? I think my favorite design is always the next one, right? Because I'm always kind of chasing the next creative opportunity. I think that's what keeps me going. Is like the excitement of making something new.
Mine is our business lifestyle sweatsuit.
Yeah, we got like a little kind of subline. Okay, here we go.
Are you pulling it up, Sam? Or?
Oh no, sorry, no, you got that. Cool. What time is? Sophia, when are we going to?
We are going until 5, and I'm gonna let Natalie close us out when you all are done.
Cool. Well, yeah. Let me know if anybody else has any questions. If not, then we'll wrap it up. Suling, asking about models. So for models, whenever we need to shoot somebody, I tend to reach out to really close friends, so that I can just give them free clothes. Also, like right now, the two models that we use are our employees, so they're already at our warehouse, and we're already paying them. So but we have paid models in the past. The most we've paid for a model is like $50 an hour. They were like agency represented. But yeah, if you're starting a business and you need to create content, I would just say shoot your friends, shoot your girlfriend, shoot your boyfriend, shoot your mom, shoot your dad, shoot whoever you don't have to pay a lot, and preferably can just give free product to. Or just shoot yourself.